evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is the first time you've been on the show. My name is Brian Smith. I am one of the hosts for the show. Used to be Smith TV, Smith Radio. Now we're transitioning. My co-host, Daryl Brooks, is at a gun show tonight. Fantastic. Having a great time. Met up with Sebastian Gorka and book signing and whatnot. If you haven't gotten the book yet, 37 Days, phenomenal book. He was behind the scenes. He watched the situation unfold when we talk about the vote counting in Philadelphia. You're going to have to read the book. It'd be difficult for me to talk about that on the show without him being here, but it also probably be a no-no for me to talk about that on the show because of certain restrictions that we just can't get into right now. We're live on the YouTubes. Speaking about that, we're live on the YouTubes. We're also live on the Facebooks and also on my Twitter page. I've got a professional. I was banned from Twitter back when Donald Trump got kicked off of Twitter. I was kicked off with everybody else all at the same time. So I've since migrated. Right after I got kicked off Twitter, I migrated over to TikTok because that's what all the kids were doing. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I lost 30-some thousand followers on Twitter because I got banned, got kicked off. Now let's go to TikTok, see what happens. I'll tell you what, TikTok was addictive. It was quite interesting and quite addictive. There's no question about that. Even my wife, my kids even said, Daddy, you too much. I'm like, yeah. I really got into it with the video making and the abilities to manipulate the videos on the fly right there on my iPhone and then post them up on the TikToks. TikTok didn't like that. They didn't like that. Within 6 to 9 months, I was back up to like 35,000 followers. Had some videos that went viral, went 750,000 million views, whatever. Just went viral. And they were videos that were either about God, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's either about that or it was about exposing the criminality in our federal government and state government and local government. They didn't like that neither, none too much. So this is an old relic of a cup. If you've got one, that's a rarity. They're expensive. Very few of them out there. Anyways, so after I got kicked off the TikToks, I was like, you know what? Maybe this show thing isn't for me at all. Maybe I'm not supposed to do this. I did it with Smith Radio with my cousin for years. It was fantastic. We did it once a week on Sunday nights for about 3 hours. And then after that, I did it by myself for a while. Just doing a daily show as an hour show, daily show for a while by myself, which I enjoyed it. I love it. I love doing this type of entertainment, if you will, and exposing and telling people the truth and what's going on. And if you're wondering, what am I doing? Say, Brian, what are you doing? Look at that. Well, I've got to share the show. If you don't share the show, if I don't share the show, who's going to share the show? So as I'm trying to talk to you, I'm also sharing the show as well. But I did the hour-long show by myself for about 7 to 8 months. And, that's when I transitioned to Smith TV. It just wasn't working, I mean, the money wasn't there. The pay wasn't there. It just didn't get picked up by anybody, did the best I could. So it just wasn't there. And granted, we're also fighting the suppression that's out there, whether it be on the Facebooks, the TikTok or Facebooks, the Twitters or the YouTubes. Now I'm pretty active on the Instagrams. Instagram has not banned me yet. I still find it kind of like old. I don't know. TikTok was so much, but you got to stay off that TikToks. I saw a video of a guy talking about TikTok and said, because it's China made, it's propaganda. It's set up to destroy our children here in America. Because it rewards our children in America for doing some of the most dumb, uneducated. I wish I could use the words I could use, but I don't want to. I want to make this family-friendly show. But it really rewards our children for doing some of the most uh, dumb things ever. And so our children are rewarded for doing dumb stuff. Whereas TikTok over in China, they're rewarded for being very intelligent and doing um, neat things, whether it be putting something together or something ingenious or ingenuity or something or other, that they're rewarded for that. And in America, they're not. So it's a way to really help turn our children's minds into mush. And that's a problem that we're fighting as well. Fighting the fake news, the propaganda that's out there every day, all day long. So if you follow me a lot of times during the week, I'll go live. I started off years ago doing the scope on the ride home scope, if you will, from work. And now I've got a different type of day job. And, I go live on that on the way home. And a lot of times I'll be real close to home. So it's kind of hard for me to like, well, what's a 10-minute live scope? And you guys are like, 10 minutes? That's fantastic. I'm like, 10 minutes is kind of, it's not enough time. And I probably should. I probably should do a live scope for 10 minutes and just knock it out and be done with it. And I apologize. If I get more people with the thumbs up saying that's what you like, then you know what? That's what I'll do. Maybe I'll start doing more 5-minute, 10-minute clips. But with that being said, this is the day late, dollar short. This is supposed to be the Thursday night show at 7 o'clock with Daryl Brooks and myself on fire. Last night we ran into issues. Daryl was traveling, so we couldn't do it last night. And then tonight, the gun show that he's at right now ran long, so wasn't able to do that either. Like I said, it is what it is. You just got to roll the dice, and if it works out, it works out. And I said, you know what? I've done show prep, so let's just roll with it. And when I say I did show prep for 2 shows, actually. The one show that you may have seen, this is the banner for it. Here, let me take myself off and put this up. Yeah, that's the banner. Let's see if I can do a picture in person. No, I can't do that. That's the banner for the Whoopi Goldberg incident that went down this week. Also, Jeff Zucker being fired, and baby Brian Stelter having problems himself for being a media person on a news outlet and not reporting one of the biggest stories in his own media. Big fail on baby Brian Stelter, as well as who else was on there? Oh, Neil Young. The cancel culture has gotten so bad they've canceled themselves. Get it canceled. I had clips of Mika Brzezinski saying, "Oh, the cancel culture's gotten so bad." I know it's gotten so bad, y'all canceled yourself. It's ridiculous. But as I've been watching, and we'll get into the news if you will, as I've been watching this story kind of unfold and develop, a couple of things have happened this week that I find quite strange. And as I'm looking through different articles and I'm watching the news kind of unfold, and I got many different outlets that I go to. And then when I watch MSNBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox News as well, I tend to get really, really, really super, super cynical. And I sit there and say, okay, what are they lying about? Where are they lying about? Where's the angle? What are they lying about? And now I have found on the platform that we use to go live, I found a way to play a video as I can sit off to the side, watching the video, playing the video, and comment and hit pause at the same time. Didn't know that this option was available, but I stumbled across it, and it's fantastic now because I've got some clips for you. And if you didn't see the banner or you did see the banner, then you know what this show's about. Let's put this up real quick. Yes, this show is about the American false flag, or just false flag in general. It's almost like a double, like a reverse. Like Russia putting out a false flag, meaning that they would, and this originally started with, I believe, with I want to say aircraft and military personnel, but it started out to where you would take your own aircraft or your own military vehicle or vessel or whatever you want to call it, and say it's an American F-16, because that's what I used for the show. F-16. I worked on those back in the 90s. I was stationed in Aviano, Italy, in the Air Force. It was a fantastic time to be alive. So the F-16, lawn darts as we called them, one of the greatest fighter jets out there. This hands down. So an American F-16 with Russian flags on it, Russian markers on it. So if it was flying, people would be like, oh my gosh, it's a Russian it's an F-16. Well, that's the whole joke. Russians don't have F-16s, but that's the joke that Joe Biden, in case you didn't get it, sometimes I put these things out there. People are like, Brian, I don't get that. What is that? I'm like, for real? All right, sorry. I don't know. Maybe my humor is a little weird, but I use the F-16 because it's an American fighter jet, the greatest, in my personal opinion, the greatest fighter jet that has ever come about in a long, long time. We desperately needed it during Vietnam, and I believe that's when it sprouted up. That's a whole nother story. But an American fighter jet with Russian symbols on it. And that's the false flag. So that F-16 with Russian symbols on it would go and bomb, say, China, or bomb, as we're talking about, skipping a beat here. I'll come back to it. Sorry. But as that F-16 would bomb somewhere, then they would say that, hey, look, there's Russia. They bombed it. There you go. It's Russia. When in all reality, it was us wanting it to look like Russia, so that once we got into it, then, it'd be a big old battle, and then propaganda would go around everywhere as to who started it. But then we would just claim that it was Russia started it. We had to jump in. We had to get into it. I mean, this has been going on forever. There's a great, great documentary going all the way back. It's Conspiracy World War I, and there's a lot of them out there, but it's a three-part series. Conspiracy World War I. It is the most fascinating, fantastic documentary I've ever seen put together. They're 40 minutes long each, so that's how you'll know you've got the right one. And it actually shows how World War I was a timed thing. It was in the works for 20, 30 years leading up, maybe even 40 years leading up to the early 1900s. So back in the late 1800s, the hierarchy and the British government was attempting to start a world war. That's what they wanted. They specifically wanted a world war against Germany, because Germany was really taking hold with the Industrial Revolution and really just transforming their people's lives, becoming a better place to live and a great place to live. And things were just getting better and better and better. And if you look at the German footprint, if you will, their landmass leading up to World War I, you would see, wow, Germany is really stretching out. And they certainly were. So as you see, as Great Britain worked with the French to somehow start a war against Germany, it was again and again and again. They would grab a hold of a news headline and try to just beat it to death, hoping that it would grab people's attention and it would allow them to run freely with it. And oh man, this is what'll get it going. This is what'll get it going. And it was just, year after year, decade after decade, it just wasn't working. And they started using propaganda against the Germans, saying the Germans were eating babies and Germans were evil demons and all this propaganda. And for those of you out there who are World War I history buffs, because I've had people come at me about this stuff. And the propaganda leading up to World War I was out there. And if you are going to say to me, Brian, the Germans were eating babies, I'm going to call you a liar. I just don't see it to be feasible or possible or realistic. Not the entire German nation under the Kaiser. It's just not realistic. And as it would be, the France Duke Ferdinand moment was just ripe for the picking. I mean, the Duke showed up in a place and two Serbs were supposed to kill him. And weirdly enough, it didn't work out. One of the bombs went off too early. One of the bombs went off too late. Killed before, killed in front. And the driver for the Duke took off with him and his wife and took off and went the other way. And the Duke eventually, as according to the documentary, the Duke said to the driver, I want to go back around. I want to circle back around and I want to visit those that are wounded. I want to see the site. I want to see what's going on. And ironically or planned, not quite sure, they wound up in the wrong place at the wrong time where the Serbs had ran away and went to a coffee shop and waited, which seems too planned looking back in hindsight. It looks like it's just too easy to be planned out. Okay, if this doesn't work, then go over here and wait for this. So they waited, and as they saw the Duke arrive with him and his wife, they walked right up to the carriage, put a bullet in his head, boom, bada bing, bada boom, it's done. And now, because of all the alliances that were made, then the rest of the story is there. So there was a lot of propaganda going on. There's a lot of propaganda that's been perpetrated from our federal government here in America and the states that have been put onto the people about wars and getting into wars, and the John McCains and the war hawks out there. Hillary Clinton, one of the founding fathers of ISIS, along with Barack Hussein Obama and John McCain. Gun running. If you ever want to watch a phenomenal movie with Nicolas Cage in it, I forgot the name of that one too. The Nicolas Cage's movie that oh man, this is gonna bother me. Sorry, folks, I gotta look this up. I use the Google voice to text. Nicolas Cage movie, gun running. I know it's not gun running, it's selling munitions. Lord of War. How'd I forget that one? Lord of War. If you want to watch a great movie, watch Lord of War. That will tell you all you need to know about our politicians here in Washington, D.C. That's what it's become. It truly has become that. It's a huge, huge boom for our government to make money with the likes they've never seen before. I mean, back in World War I, they did it. It was Chase, I believe. No, sorry. Before they met with Chase, J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan literally bankrolled Great Britain during the war. And J.P. Morgan also loaned out to France and all kinds of other people. J.P. Morgan had more money than the federal government at that time, back in the early 1900s, or at least the ability to loan out that much money. And at one point in time, the politicians said if when the war was over, if J.P. Morgan falls, well, so does the country. We can't allow J.P. Morgan to fall. So how did J.P. Morgan made whole? Well, after the war was over, our government lent money to Britain, to France, to some of the other countries who owed J.P. Morgan using taxpayer dollars. And those governments used that money to pay back J.P. Morgan. I mean, come on, why would you not, right? I'm just saying. And not only that, but back then there was they had to institute this in World War II, which was a cash and carry program, because they were lending out so much on credit for munitions of what side to both sides. They were literally funding both sides. America was. And so during World War II, they had to institute cash and carry program. You pay cash, you come and you carry away. That's just the only way it was going to happen before the World War II, before we got into it. And so, as you can see, how war just really starts to do a lot of things for a country. It's evil beyond evil. It truly is. It's as evil as Whoopi Goldberg talking about the Jews as being white people being murdered against white people. It's a white thing. The most hideous, heinous thing I've ever heard anybody say about the Holocaust. And yes, it is true. You don't have to be white to be a racist. You can be black, you can be Jewish, you can be any race and be a racist. And Whoopi Goldberg is the ultimate Karen and the ultimate racist. She truly, truly is. The evils that she was spewing out this week, which got her a 2-week suspension, and now she's threatening to quit. I'm like, okay, fine. I don't know who the hell watches that stupid show anyways. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's so awful that the clips that people pass around on social media is the only thing I see. And the clips are wretched awful. So and this is the problem. We're brainwashing women, predominantly women in the audience that are watching this show. It's a brainwashing of our female culture, and it's absolutely horrendous. It's a battle we're losing. We're also losing the battle of miseducation in the Department of Education. So leading up to the show today, let's see, how do we play this out? We could go back to George Bush and the Patriot Act, which not that I was young, but I wasn't quite astute when it comes to government powers and government overreach. But the Patriot Act sounded great, that we're going to protect America, until we got a president that wanted to destroy America. And then he would use the Patriot Act to spy on Americans legally. That's not what it's ever supposed to meant for, but you know how lawyers are. And you know what they say about lawyers. They said, what is it? What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? What, Brian? A good start. No. Talking if you're a lawyer out there, and I know some of them are great, but when I talk about lawyers, talk about these lawyers, these politicians that are lawyers, and they manipulate and they bastardize the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, our freedoms. I mean, they bastardized the Emancipation Proclamation for slaves in America to become American citizens. They've destroyed that. That actually should be removed from the Constitution. 14th, 15th Amendment should be removed from the Constitution of the United States of America, because we no longer need the Emancipation Proclamation. We can have it as a historical piece, but no longer enforceable, because there are no slaves in America. Sex slaves, yes, but no slaves in the sense that indentured servants or slavery, outspoken slavery, and whatnot. Sex slaves, a whole nother ball of wax that Donald Trump was trying to get a grip on and prosecute and shut down. Thank you, Democrats, for reviving that once again, the evils of the world. But they've bastardized that. And so if a woman in an aircraft is flying over American territory and gives birth to a child, that child is automatically an American citizen who could be president of the United States one day. Barack Hussein Obama. Yes, that's wrong. That's evil. That's messed up. How do you work that? How do you justify that? How does that work out? It doesn't. Just like with our border situation. How does that work out? No, it doesn't. When you have open borders, any country has open borders, it doesn't work out. Never. You now give up your sovereignty, and you no longer a sovereign nation, and you become, the next Venezuela, or the next whatever. They just kind of fall to pieces and fall apart. Before, hundreds of years ago, people were desperate to come to America for an even playing field, to where If you worked hard and you kept your nose to the grindstone, you could make something of yourself. It was the American dream. Not only that, but all your hard work would pay off, because then you could will that to your children and your children's children, your children's children, and generations. And it's actually in the Bible. It talks about that in the Bible. I was reading and watching a documentary today that was talking about Abraham and his wife and land and ownership of land. And it's in the Bible. Everything that we ever live today, nothing's new. And it's all written down in the Bible. Greatest historical document ever in all of human history. The greatest historical document in all of human history. If you want to figure out what life's all about, read the Bible. It'll tell you. You don't need to figure. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's already there. It's written down. Anyways. So, I digress. Sorry, I almost got my ADD kicked in and I almost got off on a separate topic, a different tangent there for a second. But, I lost my train of thought. Where were we at? Why did I go to Abraham Lincoln? Abraham in the Bible. Why did I go to him and ownership? Oh, in America. That's why everybody came. For ownership of land, to get a piece of the dream. Now people come here because our federal government is selling them a piece of welfare for life, disability for life, free food, free healthcare, free housing. But it's never free. Somebody's got to pay for that. And you know who that is. That's you and me, John Q. Taxpayer. It's what they did back J.P. Morgan, back during the 1900s when they had to pay J.P. Morgan back. They stole the taxes from the people, loaned it to other governments under the guise that it was a friendly loan. Come on, people, we got to help them out. Got to be nice to them. And we are so loving and so caring, the greatest nation, most caring, most giving nation ever. And we have been destroyed from within because of our kindness and our love. Our Christian Judeo foundation, our love for man and humanity to give, and they've taken advantage of all of that. Now, that doesn't mean that you get upset and get mad and get it all in. Back up. Don't fall into that dastardly deed, because they want you upset. They want you angry, because when they get you upset and when they get you angry, then they get control of you. It's what Hitler did. It's the greatest thing they ever did. Most evil. But it was the greatest experiment ever shown to human nature that you could see, that you get an entire nation enraged at everyone else in the entire world. And then you could turn that nation on the world and make them kill people. It's a hypnotic trance. It was absolutely incredible. And now we're seeing that unfold. So as we went to Bush and we talk about the Patriot Act, what else did Bush sell us? Bush sold us on. I know there were 17 UN violations for Saddam Hussein and whatnot, and he should have been deposed. However, the weapons of mass destruction, Colin Powell's issue with lying and pushing things around, it's just a whole lot of hot mess. And then fast forward, we see that the Bushes are really in bed with the Clintons, or really in bed with the Obamas, really in bed with the powers that be. The one world order. His dad said it. Papa Bush said it. There's a new world order. What do you expect? I mean, did you expect something different? I sure didn't. Anyway, so Barack Obama's gone. Joe Biden's in. Joe Biden's in. Let's cue the clip. Let's cue which one do we play at Joe Biden? So Barack Obama's out. And which one do we got at Joe? Let's do Representative Kennedy. Biden at 1 year in. This is it says it all.
American people may be poorer under President Biden's administration, but they're not stupid. They see, Martha, what you and I see. A fair assessment of the Biden administration after 1 year is that it runs a tight shipwreck. I mean, let me count the ways. This administration has mismanaged COVID. It's mismanaged Congress. It's mismanaged the border. It's mismanaged inflation. It's mismanaged securing our streets. It's mismanaged foreign policy, including but not limited to Afghanistan. And just last week, the president traveled to Georgia to participate in racial demagoguery. I mean, how many roads must a man walk down before he knows he is lost? The American people may be poorer under President Biden's administration.
Holy smoke, man. I just checked out the comment section. I apologize, guys. I did not realize this, but this human being, sorry, bro. We gotta kick you off. Getter is packed, lots of free speech and videos. Thank you, Laura Butler. Laura, long time no see. Holy smoke. So yeah, I had to remove that individual. Wow. I tend to forget that there are some vile people out there that get on the show and just go vile. So there's Joe Biden 1 year in. Joe Biden's made a mess of everything. Joe Biden has canceled the pipelines. We're no longer energy independent, which Donald Trump made us energy independent with the likes we haven't seen since 1979. Thank you, Jimmy Peanut Head Carter, overthrowing the Shah and installing the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran. You know, that's just what he did. How evil is that to put the entire the culture into Sharia law, a slave state? And we watch what it is. Thank you, Joe Biden. Joe Biden also, gas prices through the roof. Food is up. Go check your grocery store bill. Food's up. There's no question about that. It's stuff is up. Building materials, double, triple. I don't have to explain this to you guys. You know what it is. So Joe Biden is failing. He's failing miserably. His poll numbers are really, really bad. 28% say that they want him reelected, and 50% of Democrats want him reelected. And it's really, really, and that poll number is through his first year. Donald Trump's numbers were 97% with his own party. Sorry there, buddy. It's a fact. Donald Trump was well loved by his party, and well loved by people who have common sense. Now, I'm not saying you have to love the man individually. You don't have to love what he says. You can absolutely hate what he says. You can hate what he stands for. You can hate all the things, anything about him, and nothing at all. But the policies that he put in play, we saw an economic boom in short time. I thought for sure it was going to take at least 2017, 2018. We wouldn't see anything till 2019, and I was dead wrong. This market started to skyrocket right after his election, 2018. It went through the roof. And then if you folks look back, I believe it was September 23rd, 2019. October 23rd, 2019. October 23rd, 2019. Donald Trump addressed the world on the world stage, and he gave a speech that was to die for as a citizen. It was a shaming of all the nations around the world that enslaved their people. It was a cry to those nations to become better and free their own people and allow their people to speak freely, live freely, make free wages. I mean, it was just all about freedom for humanity. And powers that be didn't like that. Shortly after that, we had COVID. Anyways, so back to Biden. Biden's doing awful. Things are falling apart. Biden is doing what Biden does. This is Joe Biden right here.
Now, whether or not I think that, how can I say this? in a public forum. I think that he is dealing with what I believe he thinks is the most tragic thing that's happened. Yes.
Thank you very much for this honor. James Rosen with Newsmax. I'd like to raise a delicate subject, but with utmost respect for your life accomplishments and the high office you hold. A poll released this morning by Politico Morning Consult found 49% of registered voters disagreeing with the statement, Joe Biden is mentally fit.
Wow.
Not even a majority of Democrats who responded strongly affirmed that statement.
Well, I'll let you all make the judgment whether they're correct.
Well, so the question I have for you, sir, if you'd let me finish, is why do you suppose such large segments of the American electorate have come to harbor such profound concerns about your cognitive fitness? Thank you.
I have no idea.
I got no idea. This is Joe Biden. This is not what anybody expected. No, I take that back. It's not what the left expected. It's what we all predicted. I didn't think it would go this bad this fast, but it's what we predicted. So this week, the media announces that Joe Biden killed ISIS leader terrorist. Well, first off, Donald Trump decimated ISIS. And if ISIS is back, it's because of this administration. Secondly, when you read into the article or you listen to the news clips and you get to the end of the clip, Joe Biden didn't kill anybody. They claim that he was in the Situation Room and he was given the go light, the green light to go ahead and get him. But when you look into it, they were the special forces got there trying to clear everybody out on the first floor of a 3-floor high rise. And you can't tell me that the guy didn't know that we were there. Not only that, but the article said that they were using loud microphones and telling everybody to get out, run away. I'll be honest with you, it sounds more like a hostage terrorist situation than it was a surgical removal of someone from this planet. But you know, I'm just here to read the tea leaves. And then the guy blew himself up. The coward, the Islamic conservative Islamic coward that holds every word to the Quran as truth. As a coward, blew himself up, and his wife and his children. At least that's what they said. As the video footage, I don't know if I have the video footage of that one. As the video footage started to play, they started showing different pieces around where the building had exploded, and there's rubble everywhere. And it showed clothes and stuff like that laying around and some children's toys. And I mean, it was disturbing. It was quite disturbing, but there wasn't anything that it looked like bodies or I mean, I'm trying to be sadistic about it, but blood. I was specifically looking for blood, some kind of blood, some kind of body, something. ISIS leader. Let's see. Did we get the ISIS leader? All right. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I think this is the clip that took a while. Yeah, here it is. All right, so here's the clip that I think I can play the clip and pause it at the same time. And this is very important that you stick with me on this. This is about Joe Biden supposedly killing an ISIS leader, which we didn't know ISIS was still around, didn't even know it was a thing. Donald Trump decimated them. But it like Osama bin Laden, al-Baghdadi, and they lumped this in as part of all that. So check this out real quick. See if we get this thing to play.
Okay, and State Department official, former State Department official, Colonel Steve Ganyard, ABC News contributor. For more on this, Steve, we heard President Biden go over many of the atrocities.
Hey, let me see if I can replay that from the beginning.
That this leader was responsible for. How significant is his removal?
Okay.
Yeah, Dan, ISIS has sort of been, hasn't been in headlines lately, and al-Qaeda certainly has been out of sight for quite a while. We still don't know where Zawahiri is, but if you listen to the Pentagon briefings in the past couple months, they've been very clear that ISIS remains a very potent threat and that they are reorganizing and trying to rejuvenate the organization. And so to take out the leader is a big blow to that organization.
Okay, so my question is, why are they trying to reorganize? Why are they trying to get back together? Does it have anything to do with Afghanistan? Does it have anything, Joe Biden, with you leaving troops, American personnel? When I say troops, I mean the dogs that are military property. You left all that behind. And I know fact checkers say that that's not true. But if you read the fact checkers, it is true. They actually had to let the dogs, release the dogs to let them run free. But people couldn't get out and people were murdered. Our own military personnel were murdered because of the most moronic, idiotic decision that you made. I don't care what anybody says about Donald Trump. I don't care what you say. Donald Trump came up with the idea. Donald Trump laid the plan in place. Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. No. I could tell you and teach you, or well, not teach you, but I could lay out a booklet of how to drive a car. And if you pick up the keys and you walk outside and you get in that car and you drive that car and you kill somebody, you can't blame me for that. You did that. It was you. And so Joe Biden, you did do that. And now we've got ISIS resurgence. Is this gaslighting or is this true? Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, certainly the whole thing in Afghanistan with leaving hundreds of millions of dollars worth of military equipment to literally create an army with a force that Middle East does not have. Overnight, we created that, Joe Biden. And now you've got ISIS excited. That's possible. It's possible.
Oftentimes it'll just be the next person up. But as the Israelis say with terrorists, it's sort of like mowing the lawn. You need to take out who you can, when you can, but you have to be prepared that the organization will eventually rejuvenate itself and there'll be somebody to pick up the mantle.
Mary Alice, what can you tell us about how this raid was planned and ultimately executed? It sounded like the president wanted to make very clear today that they did try to limit civilian casualties, despite the fact that it sounds like some were killed.
Diane, that's right. And that was exactly the message from senior administration officials that briefed reporters this morning. They said that they started planning this operation back in December, but that the president gave the green light on Tuesday in a conversation in the Oval Office, and then overnight was being briefed and getting real-time updates, following along with his vice president and members of his national security team in the Situation Room.
Break down.
It started a clip it shouldn't have started. Sorry about that, folks.
The president said, "God bless our troops," before going upstairs, and then received continued updates throughout the.
Okay, I don't want to be cynical, but she just said, she told you, the listener, that President Biden, before he sent our troops in to get the evil bad man, that Joe Biden said, God bless our troops. Really? Really? And he left our troops in Afghanistan to be killed. But now he's saying, God bless our troops now. Yeah.
Night from his national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. And you're right, this morning the senior administration officials said exactly the same, that they took extreme measures to try to limit any civilian casualties. That's first reflected just in the fact that this was sort of a manned mission, that we put U.S. troops there in harm's way on the ground instead of carrying out a drone strike.
Yeah, I find that kind of weird as well. Why didn't they do a drone strike? Barack Hussein Obama was famous for drone strikes. Why wouldn't we do a drone strike? Why were you so concerned about casualties? Why did you care about casualties? Never cared about casualties before in the past. Why would you care now? Sorry, this piece goes on and on and on. I got to get rid of this one. I'm done with that. But as I'm teeing this whole thing up, this is the whole show. This is what I'm teeing up for, folks. That as they start to lay it on thick, this is Wag the Dog. If you haven't seen the movie, phenomenal, great movie. It's ironic that Hollywood made the movie Wag the Dog, which is exactly like mirrored the Clinton Lewinsky situation. I mean, it was just so canny. I actually thought as a young kid, I thought that they made the movie to make fun of Bill Clinton, not realizing that, no, it was just what it was. Life imitating art or art imitating life. And this is Wag the Dog as they try to make Joe Biden look like some Billy Badass or something. Sorry. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Not when, if you guys seen the videos, I don't have the clip on me, but the videos where Joe Biden's wife is walking him down off stage like a 10-year-old child, and he's taking baby steps to get off the stage. Oh, here you go, Joey. Joey, let's get to Betty. Bye. We gotta get you behind the stage. Yeah, that's the ridiculousness that we're dealing with right now. So as they try to tee that thing up. Now, it's all about Russia. Russia. Russia's back in the picture. Russia, false flag, Russian propaganda. Russia this, Russia that. Leon Panetta was on. Russia. Then Tim Kaine on. Russia. You know, like they did during the 2016 campaign. No, in the 2016 campaign, it wasn't Russia. Tim Kaine, it wasn't. It was your running mate, Hillary Rodham Clinton. It was her. She paid Perkins Coie law firm, who then paid Christopher Steele, Fusion GPS, who then hired Christopher Steele to write the fake, phony, lying 2-bit dossier that not a single journalist with an ounce of integrity would pick up, because they shopped it to everybody. BuzzFeed picked it up because they have no scruples, no mind of their own, and could care less. And maybe somebody had a manila envelope on BuzzFeed and said, either you do this or you're going to be sleeping with the fishies. So they did it. You know, Russian propaganda. It's the Christopher Steele, Russian dossier, PP-gate. It was all about Donald Trump supposedly in a Russian hotel with ladies of the night engaging in water sports. It happened to be in a room that Barack Obama. Right. And who's to believe that? And no, it's not believable. It's not credible. But that's you, Tim Kaine. That's you on the left. Okay. Russia's back in the picture. Let's do some Russia Gate. Here we go. Check this clip out. Now, fast forward to Friday. That was early in the week, and now Friday teeing up Russia. Because we're leading up to Joe Biden being Billy Badass, right?
This propaganda. First of all, NATO is not China, and it is not there to take over Ukraine or threaten Russia. In fact, Russia already shares borders with at least 4 NATO countries with no problem: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Norway. And while it might seem to make sense that Putin doesn't want NATO missiles in his backyard, NATO has made it very clear they are not for attacking Russia. They're there for protecting other countries from Russia.
So they're there to protect people from Russia, as Russia is the aggressor. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that Russia is not an aggressor. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I've said this for many years, that I believe that Vladimir Putin would love to put back the USSR as he remembered it. For those of you young enough that don't remember, that during the reign of terror under Lenin, and then after Lenin, before he died, he said, "God help us all." No, he didn't say that. He said, do not let Stalin run this thing. Do not, whatever you do not let Stalin. Stalin ran it. There was a position, if you will. I forget what the name of the position was, but it was like the terrorist position where you would terrorize people. You were the head of the terrorist program, where you would go round up, arrest people, bring them in, and then you would torture them and you would terrorize them, trying to get information out of them. And this was a pretty big position. And a lot of different people had this position. And once you add that position, within about 4 or 5 years, then you yourself would be tortured and murdered as brutally as you were doing everybody else. And so you would get the next person. And ironically, or maybe not ironically, they didn't realize that they would become what they were doing. And this went on and on and on for decades and decades and decades. And every one of them were tortured and killed except one, Vladimir Putin. He was the last one in that position. And that was it. And now this is rise to fame. Look at it on the Wikipedias, looking at it in the history books. His rise to fame was somewhat of an appointment, if you will, somewhat of a, this is the best guy. I think we should do it. And now he gets all the votes. I mean, go figure. So Putin's not a nice guy. I'm not saying that. However, Joe Biden earlier this week made a phone call to the Ukrainian president and tried to scare the crap out of him. Well, that was released. Information was released, and the White House rejected it. Said, "Oh no, he didn't do that. He didn't do that." And then the president of the Ukraine made a press conference and said just as much. He was trying to scare the crap out of me. Like, hey, no, right there, Putin's not coming. What are you talking about? We're not coming in being attacked. So it's really strange that the Biden administration would hype up this war. Hype up the war. I'm not saying there isn't a real threat, but to hype up the threat to the point to where we now got CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, Fox News perpetuating now Russia. And now calling it the false flag. The false flag that Russia now has produced a video. Here, we'll play this one. Here it is. Russia has now done what?
We have previously noted our strong concerns regarding Russian disinformation and the likelihood that Moscow might seek to create a false flag operation to initiate military activity. Now, we can say that the United States has information that Russia is planning to stage fabricated attacks by Ukrainian military or intelligence forces as a pretext for a further invasion of Ukraine. One possible option the Russians are considering, and which we made public today, involves the production of a propaganda video, a video with graphic scenes of false explosions depicting corpses, crisis actors pretending to be mourners, and images of destroyed locations or military equipment, entirely fabricated by Russian intelligence.
What is the evidence that this is like crisis actors, really? This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into now. What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
Matt, this is derived from information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where's the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
No, you made a series of allegations and statements.
Would you like us to print out the topper? Because you will see a transcript of this briefing that you can print out for yourself.
That's not evidence, Ned. That's you saying it. That's not evidence. I'm sorry.
What would you like, Matt?
I would like to see some proof that you can show that
Matt, you have been
that shows that the Russians are doing this. Ned, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know, that was my point. You have
know.
been doing this for quite a while. You know that when we declassify intelligence
That's
information,
right. And I
we do so in a
WMDs
means
in Iraq.
we do
And
so with an eye to protecting sources and methods.
Is not going to fall. I remember a lot of things. So where is the declassified information other than you coming out here and saying?
Matt, I'm sorry you don't like the format, but we have
declassified. It's not the format; it's the content.
I'm sorry you don't like the content. I'm sorry you are doubting the information that is in the possession of the U.S. government.
No,
what I'm telling you is that this is information that's available to us. We are making it available to you in order for a couple reasons. One is to attempt to deter the Russians from going ahead with this activity. Two, in the event we're not able to do that, in the event the Russians do go ahead with this, to make it clear as day, to lay bare the fact that this has always been an attempt on the part of the Russian Federation to fabricate a pretext.
Yeah, but you don't have any evidence to back it up other than what you're saying. It's like you're saying, we think we have information.
So you got the gist of that, right? So he did say there's a video out there of Russia. There's bodies. There's this, there's that. There's videos out there, and it's fake. It's false. They're blowing up stuff, and it's not real, and it's not real, but it is real, but it's not real, and it's all fake. But they really put this video together. They put this whole video together.
The U.S. has evidence that Russia has developed a plan approved at the highest levels in Moscow to create a pretext for invading Ukraine by falsely pinning the attack on Ukrainian forces that could involve alleged casualties in eastern Ukraine, but also inside Russia. It's being reported by the Washington Post. Is that report accurate? Has that intelligence been declassified, and what can you tell us?
What I can tell you is, first of all, we've discussed this idea of false flags by the Russians before. We've made no secret of that. And we do have information that the Russians are likely to want to fabricate a pretext for an invasion, which again is right out of their playbook. One option is the Russian government, we think, is planning to stage a fake attack by Ukrainian military or intelligence forces against Russian sovereign territory or against Russian-speaking people. To therefore justify their action. As part of this fake attack, we believe that Russia would produce a very graphic propaganda video, which would include corpses and actors that would be depicting mourners and images of destroyed locations.
Okay, the jig is up, guys. If you listen to what he's saying that they would produce, that they would do this, and that if they were going to start a false flag, that this is how it would happen. They would do this. And just the clip before, he said they absolutely did it. Well, how do I know they're both lying? Well, one of them's telling the truth. They're not both lying, but this one is telling the truth because he's stammered all over himself and he's reading the talking points. The other one is lying because he said it's already been done. And the news media said, well, where is it? Where's the video? Where's the video? There is no video. They made it up. America is now attempting to create a war with Russia to make Joe Biden look like a commander-in-chief. And they're creating a war, in my opinion. They're creating this pseudo war, whether it becomes a war or not, who knows? With the killing of ISIS and the setting up of this war, the wagging of the dog, it is for the 2022 midterms. They're going to get hammered. They're going to get lost. They're going to get destroyed in 2022 midterms. It's just right around the corner. It's out of control. The economy sucks. Everything is awful here. COVID through the roof, deaths through the roof, mandates through the roof. Everything is awful and people hate it. And they're blaming Joe Biden. Now, what do? We make him look like a commander-in-chief that he controls a war. What? What are we doing? False flag, false flag? This is crazy. And if you voted for Joe Biden, I'm sorry. I really am. Because you should have known that this is what you're going to get with a man who's been in office for half a century. He's been in office since 1973. What were you doing in 1973? I'll tell you what I was doing. I was being born. 1973. Roe v. Wade. This is when Joe Biden first entered the Senate. Roe v. Wade. He hadn't left. Yeah, guys. We got a lot on our plate right now. And it's not going to end anytime soon. So I just want to get this out there, false flag. I just want to get that. I'm not saying that Russia's good people. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that it very stinks to high heavens that our government is trying to sell this garbage to the American people, that there's a false flag. They're doing it. They're doing it. They're setting up this propaganda. They're setting up the whole thing to make it look like Joe Biden is somehow competent in some form, fashion, or another. It's just not true. Anyways, folks, stick with me every Thursday night. If not Thursday, stay with me. And it'll come sooner or later, 7 o'clock, usually, sometimes. And we'll be back at it. Daryl Brooks should be back here. Get his book, 37 Days. A fantastic read. And I will leave you with, let's leave you with the GOP ad about inflation. God bless you. God bless your family. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I will see you later.
Surging nearly 7%. It's the highest point in nearly 40 years. Folks feeling a pinch every time they pick up groceries and pay the bill.
The trees themselves to the tree stands to the lights has gone up in price.
Many items have gone up in price, and 78% of Americans say that is forcing them to cut back on buying gifts.
Americans now disapprove of the president's handling of inflation.
The problem is they're going to be available. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost Santa some money.